Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at Dimash's version of Ave Maria, performed at the New Wave concert. I believe that's in Sochi. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be Moscow, but no, this is normally held in Sochi. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. And this is Dimash, so I'm not too worried about his performance in that sense. I'm looking at it in terms of his great performativity, the way that he actually uses his body, how he uses the stage, how he uses his voice to bring people into what it is that he's singing. And again, if this is new wave, most likely it's Krutoy. So I'm very interested to see how he brings together the visual and the audio and sort of brings the whole art direction together in both sound and in visuals. So with that, that's what I like to look at, because I'm not too concerned that Dimash is going to be the consummate professional that he is. So with that, I'm going to begin, and let's start this journey through Ave Maria. So before Dimash begins, as you notice, he stepped to the mic and then he put his head down. So that's an interesting sign about how he's setting himself up for this song. The other thing that I really am interested in hearing your comments about is the introduction for this. So for those of you who know the Ave Maria that we normally sing at Christmas, and I can't remember if it's Schubert or someone else, and I can't remember all of my classical people. But basically, I'm very interested to hear what the images that went through your mind during that introduction, knowing that this was going to be an Ave Maria. So with that, I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to step back, and we're going to continue. I'm going to go back a little bit now. My Russian isn't good, but Igor Krutoy wrote this, and I believe Dimash had a hand in this. I recognize that the words on the screen, I believe that's correct. I believe that this is a Dimash and Igor Krutoy version and not the Schubert version or anything like that. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. Again, I know that that's the second one there is Igor Krutoy. But again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. My Russian, I hope, is getting a little better in terms of recognizing people's names and these cards. So I'm just going to pick it up from here. The one thing, before we get started, the one thing I want to point out is I really like how Dimash, and I've always said this, is he does have the ability to take the stage and he feels very comfortable there. If you look at him right now, he's looking over to one side of the stage and he's very good at looking around and being present for everybody in the room. He's not a person who just stares straight ahead. He's not a person who avoids eye contact with the people in the audience. He knows he's good enough. He doesn't have anything to fear necessarily. He's going to hit the notes that he needs to hit, and he's going to perform at his best. And so he's always relaxed up there. And that's one thing that, if anybody here is an aspiring performer, that's something that you need to train yourself to become, is that you know the song well enough, you know everything well enough that you're not worried about your voice, you're not worried about the words, you're not worried about anything. You're just worried about presenting the message to the people in front of you. And so with that, I'm going to continue. I'm going to point out a little bit about his obviously his breath control. I've been talking about that since day one. His ability to carry a line. And if you notice, I was watching him very intently right there. And the reason I was watching him very intently is I was looking for his in-ears, and today he isn't using them. And so I got curious because as the camera was panning in, I noticed there were monitors, and there are always monitors on the ground. I mean, they're always there because otherwise you're singing into a football field, and you won't be able to hear yourself, and that's always painful. But today he's actually using those monitors to actually carry the sound to him. I mean, he doesn't need the in-ears because he's not going to be moving around a lot on stage. I guess the mic is there. So if he's not going to be moving around on stage, he can stay stationary and have the monitors carry the day. And it also creates a better line because he looks really nice in this outfit, and it's very monochromatic. So he has white on white with that silver chain going there. To have these little in-ears dangling all about would sort of ruin the line in my mind of the costume, the thing that he's wearing, the clothes that he's wearing. So it's just something that I noticed, and I know that he's an opera. He's operatically trained. So in that sense, you don't usually use in-ears. I don't know. I haven't been to an opera in a while, but basically I don't know if you use the in-ears in opera. But with that, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to let him continue with his beautiful vocalise. going to go back a couple of seconds there. It's very interesting when I watch Dimash, and I'm gonna, this might actually work for me actually. The guy is 6'4", right? He's really tall. He's like tall. But the very interesting thing about him that I have to say is that he looks shorter somehow when I watch him live. And I'm trying to figure that out, if it's like how they dress him. But I was looking at him and I'm like, gosh, he looks really young and really small. And again, I'm a big guy, so again, everybody looks small next to me. But the idea is that he always looks like he's an innocent child. In a lot of the Krutoy stuff. I've seen him in other things where he has a much more, I'll call it an adult look, but it's a much more mature look for him. Whereas in this one he looks more innocent and more like a middle adolescent to me. And I'm trying to figure that out. And again, this comes back to the whole height thing. And like here, he just looks really small, and I know he's not. I know he's a tall person. I've had that corrected like a lot. But it's something I get hung up on, because when I watch him, I don't see him as being as tall as he is. It's a fact. He is 6'4". That is a fact. So it's all on me. But if anybody else is trying to work through that, I could be the only one, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. But I just wanted to point that out. And again, the thing about Dimash, and again, I've said this over and over again. He's really good at just singing. Like, he's very technically apt, and I really like that about him. This is Ave Maria. They wrote it. He and Igor Krutoy wrote this, and it's the idea of what Ave Maria is. And so they kept just enough of it so that we're familiar with it. There are intervals and there are notes in here that remind us of the original, but it's also just a soundscape that makes us feel like it's an Ave Maria, that it has a solemnness to it, which was reinforced with his very first casting down of his eyes. And so he's already created that. And one of the things he's really good at, and again, he's standing at a mic and he's drawing us in. He doesn't have to run around the stage. He doesn't have to dance. He doesn't have to do that. And he knows when to do the dancing, and he knows when to do the standing still. So, again, this is really smart. He knows how to perform. He knows how to work with other people to make this happen. So, again, I know he doesn't do all of this stuff by himself, but at the same time, he understands what he sees, what his vision is, I'm sure. And so with that, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys enjoy your day, night, whenever it is. For me, it is a little bit past my bedtime, so I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to let you get on with your day or night or wherever you are. And as always, be safe.